As unethical as their trade deadline pickups were, KPJ pleading guilty to domestic violence, and Kyle Kuzma just having a weird wardrobe, the Bucks have been on fire, being 9-3 since the trade deadline, 8-1 in their last 9 games, but more importantly, 6-1 since the suspension of Bobby Portis, which I'll get to later. I am not a Bucks fan. In fact, since the Bucks ended my favorite team's longest playoff run since the 1960s, I'm actually incentivized to hate them. But the Bucks being a legitimate threat to make the NBA Finals this season, in my opinion, is so good for NBA basketball. Every time I turn on my TV to watch Giannis, I am impressed. I mean, he is the most unstoppable player in the league. I mean, I'm talking more than Jokic, more than SGA. A legit double team does not phase Giannis like it does those other two. And Giannis will pass out. In fact, he is very good at passing out of double teams, but the fact is he doesn't really need to sometimes. And yet he doesn't get nearly as much recognition as someone like Jokic, like SGA, like LeBron, like Taylor Swift. And I think the reason for this is a lack of success. I mean, yeah, he has a championship, but what I've noticed over the last couple of years is people, NBA fans, they love the Western Conference. And I mean, for good reason. It's more nostalgic. A lot of our favorite older players are in the West, like LeBron, like Steph, like KD, like Russ, like Chris Paul, Anthony Davis. I could go on and on and on. And when you're in the Western Conference, and a lot of these teams that are really popular, they play each other more. When you're in the West, you play West teams more than East teams. So for the most part, most NBA fans actually just keep up with the Western Conference outside of their favorite team in the East. And because the Bucks are in the Eastern Conference, they're playing Eastern Conference teams more. And the Eastern Conference is, just in general, maybe they have the high power of the Celtics, Cavaliers, Bucks, whatever. There's a lot of bad teams in the East that you don't want to watch. And most of the time, if you're watching the East, it's either a marquee matchup between one of the top teams, or it's because the Western games don't start till later. And if you're going to pick a team to watch in the Eastern Conference, most likely it will be the Celtics. Now, there are multiple reasons for this. One, people either just love or hate the Celtics, and that drive will get them to watch the games. Or two, I mean, people are just more familiar with the Celtics, like because we've seen them make the finals multiple times in the last 5-6 years. They've made it, even when they don't make the finals, they make the Eastern Conference finals. And let's be honest, the Milwaukee Bucks, they've been losing in the first round the last couple years. Now, has Giannis been hurt? Yes, but that still doesn't hurt. Like people don't remember the first round too well throughout NBA history. Like most of the times, and it's because, there's less and less games going on with each round, but each round is just more important. This first round, if you lose in the first round, most of the time, people just forget about your team entirely. Unless, of course, your name is Steph Curry and the Warriors or LeBron James and the Lakers. I say this to say that if you want the recognition that the Celtics have right now and the amount of popularity and all that, because a lot of people are talking about Jason Tatum way more than Giannis, even though Giannis is a better player, you have to win in the playoffs. Not even just win the finals. You just have to go far enough to prove yourself. Playoff success equals regular season watchability. And not really watchability, but want to watchability. I try to watch all of NBA basketball, but even I am a victim to this. I couldn't even tell you the amount of games that I've watched in full the Bucks this season if it wasn't like a super, Bucks Sixers, Bucks Celtics kind of matchup. But if the Celtics are playing even a decent team, that's honestly a game that I'm wanting to turn on. So getting back to the first round, yeah, the Bucks haven't made it out of the first round in the past 2 years. One to the Heat, the 8th seed, and then the other one to the Pacers. Both times Giannis got hurt during the series, and it's not his fault, but it's just what happened. I mean, it's a result-based league, but this year, it might be different. The team has been looking pretty good, but really good recently, and it's a combination of everyone contributing. In the last 7 games, the Bucks have had the second best defense in the league, which is 7 spots higher than they normally are, while keeping the offense pretty much the same. And let me tell you why in the very most simplest of ways, as if you literally didn't have a brain. 35-year-old Chris Middleton? Bad defender. Kyle Kuzma? Good defender. Bobby Portis? Bad defender. Kevin Porter Jr.? I mean, we don't know yet. I mean, history tells us that he's not been a great defender, but this season with the Bucks so far, from what I've seen, he's actually been a pretty all right defender. Defense doesn't necessarily win championships, but when you have an offensive juggernaut like Giannis that literally can't be stopped, you don't need these super really good role player weapons offensively to compete. You just need players who can hit open threes. You need one other superstar like a Dame. You need someone when Dame and Giannis are off the floor to carry the offense. That's Kuzma. Kuzma's been doing that for the Wizards. Now, the Wizards haven't been winning, but Kuzma's been doing that for the Wizards for a while, and they've been running the rotation of Dame and Giannis being off the floor with Kuzma playing, and it's been all right. When you play with Giannis, you just don't need specialists. You don't need just a guy who can purely shoot threes, just a guy who can purely defend, just a guy who can purely play make. You need a guy who could do a little bit of everything, who could just stay on the floor at all times. You don't need Dyson Daniels, Herb Jones, or something like that. And you don't need a Kyle Korver. And it's different. If you don't have a superstar like Giannis or like Jokic or SGA, then a Kyle Korver being implemented into your offense, like the 2015 Hawks, is very important because there wasn't a superstar on that Hawks team that won 60 games. But if you already have this superstar, you don't want to run your offense through a role player. Chris Middleton at age 35, I'm sorry, but he can just score. I don't see much playmaking. I don't see any defense, no rebounding, nothing. But now they replace him with Kyle Kuzma, who can get 9 boards a game if needed, who can score on the ball and off the ball, who can defend, and that's just a win-win. Overall, their trade deadline acquisitions is the reason that their success has been so prominent recently. Especially because we've actually seen Kuzma play this role before and win a championship with the Lakers. But I don't want to just talk about Kyle Kuzma. Everyone on the Bucks recently has been defending, including that white boy, the whitest dude I've ever seen, AJ Green. I swear, the first time I saw him on the court, I'm like, this guy can shoot. And I saw him shoot a 3, and I'm like, okay, there's no way he could do anything else, or I would have heard of him by now. And AJ Green keeps up defensively. Like, he shows effort and has like he has decent technical skills to keep up. Like he knows, okay, let me not gas him, like talking about he's a lockdown defender, but if you can keep up and you're a 3-point shooter, then you deserve to be on the floor, versus a guy like Pat Connaughton who can shoot and I guess can dunk, but like on defense, he's food. So there's Kuzma, there's AJ Green, Taurean Prince does his thing, Gary Trent Jr. does his thing. We know who Brook Lopez and Giannis are defensively. Overall, if this team wants to win a championship, kind of similar to 2021, they need to build around defense, but they need guys who play defense and are pretty all right on offense, which is why getting rid of a guy like DeLon Wright, who I always root for and I always thought was a good player, recently, no, he has not been a good player, and he was playing for the Bucks before. Replacing him with Kevin Porter Jr., who, if Kevin Porter Jr. can kind of keep up defensively, like I saw him versus the Hawks do, that dude just put up a triple-double. He could score at any time. He could play make at any time, and I guess he can get 10 boards off the bench. I didn't even know that was possible for him, but hey, shout out to him. Now, I want to talk about Bobby Portis. I don't know the situation entirely. I heard apparently that like his trainer lied to him about being able to take these like drugs, and apparently you're not able to, and he's out 25 games. That if that's true and Bobby Portis was lied to, I feel bad for him. But this is going to help the Bucks, and I think come playoff time, they need to cut Bobby Portis out of the rotation. I'm not saying that Jericho Sims, the new backup center, is this great weapon, like it's going to replace him entirely. But sometimes less is more. Bobby Portis is a guy who, whenever I watch him, I feel like Bobby Portis is best when you run your offense through him. But the Bucks offense isn't best when it's run through Bobby Portis, if you know what I mean. Like, I don't see the defense at all. The rebounding's all right from a backup center, but I think less is more. They have enough threats with Kuzma, with Dame, with Gary Trent Jr., obviously Giannis, that we should just play. Not we, I'm not a Bucks fan, but let's just say I am. We should just let Bobby Portis chill on the bench, if the Bucks continue this dominance of being 8-1, 6-1 without Bobby Portis. Because just in my opinion, all he gives you is on-ball scoring. And like I said, the more versatile you are, the better you are when it comes to playing with superstars. There's a reason that, and it might be a bad example because there's guys like Dort and Caruso on the OKC, but you find some players who are really good and get minutes. AJ Mitchell is a rookie, and he was getting minutes for this 1 seed, and he could do everything. Aaron Wiggins could pretty much do everything. The guys like Lou Dort, I don't think they'll get playoff minutes. I don't know if this is a Bucks video, but this is just my opinion. Guys like Lou Dort and Caruso won't get as many playoff minutes because they are specialists, and you don't need specialists in the playoffs when you're playing next to a star. And Giannis is more of a star. I got a little sidetracked, but pretty much what I'm trying to say is DeLon Wright only gives you defense. His new replacement, Kevin Porter Jr., abuses dudes on the court. He abuses them off the dribble. Giannis is undoubtedly a top 5 player, probably top 3, could be top 2. Last time he was healthy, he lost in the second round, but he played amazingly. And really, I'm pretty sure the Bucks shooters just weren't making shots. Before that, he won the championship. Before that, I don't remember what happened. But Giannis has shown that he is not a playoff dropper like the narratives were before he won a championship. And there's no excuse. I actually think this team is good enough because he is the best player in the Eastern Conference by far. You could say Jason Tatum's kind of catching up, but it's not really. He has the shooters. He has the defenders around him. He just needs to stay healthy. And I seriously think he can win the championship this year. He has Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard, you can count on your hand how many times he's choked in the playoffs. And a lot of those times were most of the games in him versus the Pelicans back in 2019, 2018, 2017? I don't know. Let's look at a realistic path. It looks like they're going to be the 4 seed and either the Pistons or Indiana is going to be the 5 seed. No one can stop Giannis. Neither of those teams have a single player that can slow down Giannis. Easy first round win. Second round, most likely will be the Cavaliers. The Cavaliers, and I want Giannis to take this personally. Evan Mobley in 2K, I'm pretty sure is only 5 overalls lower than Giannis. Now, obviously, Giannis does not care about this, but if he could take it seriously, he should, because that's insane. Just me being just a whatever, I'm not a biased fan. How is Evan Mobley at 92? I don't even want to get, I'm not going to get sidetracked, but pretty much the Bucks, if there is one team that can slow down or stop Giannis, it is the Cavaliers. If you get past the Cavaliers, you potentially make or win the NBA Finals. Because even though I think Boston's an overall better team than Cleveland, I think Cleveland's the team that could stop the Bucks. However, let me remind you of this though. The Bucks are a big team. Giannis at the 4, Brook Lopez at the 5, Evan Mobley at the 4, Jared Allen at the 5. It's just gonna be such I really want to see this playoff series. Like, who would struggle? I just don't see a way Evan Mobley or Jared Allen are scoring on Brook Lopez and Giannis. I mean, this video is kind of turned into like a daydream, but like if you get past Cleveland, most likely you'll play Boston. I think Boston matches up very poorly versus the Bucks. The Bucks could easily win that. The Bucks make the finals against OKC. The Bucks match up very well against OKC. This isn't crazy. I know they're the 4 seed. I know the odds of them winning the championship as of this moment that I'm recording this is plus 4,600. But we've seen them win a championship before with this exact thing. Instead of Drew Holiday now, who was stinking it up in the playoffs. Yes, he was playing great defense. He was stinking it up. They still won the chip. He was shooting like 32%. You replace that with Damian Lillard, replace replace Chris Middleton with Kyle Kuzma. Yeah, it's a downgrade. But overall, the team is a lot better. You have Gary Trent Jr. off the bench now. AJ Green looks really good. Probably better than not DiVincenzo. Who was going off in 2021? I don't remember. But Kevin Portis Jr. has a lot of potential. We've seen the good that he can do on the court. I think that with the talent that Giannis is, he actually has the most to prove. Because he has one of the highest ceilings all time in the NBA that we've ever seen. This dude could be a legit top 10 player all time, and you can't tell me otherwise. You look at the stats he's putting up right now, 31, 12, and 6 or something like that. 31 points per game, and no one's talking about it. No one's talking about it like he is leading the league in scoring, because he's not leading the league, but in almost like any other season he would be. Besides like James Harden era. Like we're witnessing a top 15, 20 player right now, especially when he won the championship. People were saying that. If he's the first player to win 2 in the decade, then that's a no-brainer. I'm going to try and be consistent. Like the video, comment your thoughts. Do you guys think the Bucks could win a championship? If you are a Bucks fan, if you're not a Bucks fan, do you think that there's a chance at least? I feel like everyone knows there's a chance. I'm not going to say that I'm picking them to make the finals out of the East, but like, I kind of do. Am I crazy for that? Let me know. Peace out.